We watched a lot of good movies this year. I think more so than normal. So much so that I have a hard time really determining like what my favorite movie of the year was. I was actually laughing because if you look back, the most recent movies we've watched, like each one, I'm like, all right, this is my favorite movie of the year. I've changed my favorite movie of the year like multiple times at this point. But what am I supposed to do?
Weekly,
We've watched so much good shit. Like everything is legitimately good.
Yeah. I mean, you would be dumb to not be willing to change.
Got to put everybody to a decision. So let's talk about it. I want to talk about our top 6 favorite movies of the year. I say 6 because I figured everybody could pick one favorite, overall the best one we've watched, and then a runner-up. We'll start with our runner-up, and then we'll go into the favorites. So,
I like that.
Yeah, keep it.
I think you should go first, Dan.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm nervous. I was going to make you go first. All right, I'll go first if you want me to. All right. So this was tough. This was tough for me. I loved One Battle After Another. I've been thinking about it since we watched it. I actually would go so far as to call that movie a masterpiece. I said it when we reviewed it. I think that's going to be one of those movies that like people talk about for a really long time. I felt the same way about Eddington. Now, Eddington is more of like somebody I know just watched it and said they would give it like a 5.
Wow.
Yeah, but see, I understand with that movie because it's like, it's weird and it's like sort of loud and like in your face and it's all over the place. So I can understand why somebody wouldn't really vibe with that movie. Totally understandable. I think that's one of those movies you either love it or you hate it type of thing. And I loved it. And when we watched it, I was like, this is my favorite movie of the year. When we watched One Battle, I was like, this is my favorite movie of the year. I was convinced that The Long Walk was going to be my favorite movie of the year. I love The Long Walk. It made me like super emotional. It was like visceral in ways that I didn't expect. And it's all done with like just dialogue. There's like nothing really going on in the movie except just walking. And I think it was like masterfully done, but it's still not my favorite or my runner-up. And so I was thinking of all the movies we watched this year, my runner-up is Sinners. When we watched Sinners, I was like blown away by it. We were all excited for it, just like everybody was, but it blew me away. It was better than I expected it to be. I think Ryan Coogler is like a master filmmaker at this point for a lot of reasons. But yeah, I love Sinners so much. It had incredible cinematography. The acting was brilliant, especially from Michael B. Jordan, obviously having to play 2 very distinct characters that are twins. So, you know, he has to deliver a performance that's different from each character. I thought he pulled that off. You know, some people said that I think some of the criticisms that it got was like it tried to be too deep and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, I don't agree. I think it was perfect, really, in every way. Obviously, the score is amazing in that movie because it's about music, really. Or music is the vehicle for which it tells the story of, like, you know, colonization and like culture erasure and stuff like that. It really resonated with me. I loved every minute of it. As a horror fan, I love that it was about vampires, and the vampires were symbolic for how white people just absorbed black culture and made it their own and profited off of it. Sinners was one of the few movies this year that like really made me like wow, I'm like blown away by this movie. So that's why I picked it as my runner-up instead of some others. So
my runner-up, I kind of went through a couple of different options.
It's hard, right?
I had to check some dates on some things.
Oh, you did research
to make sure. I actually had forgotten about Eddington, but I still wouldn't have put that as my runner-up. It was really good.
Yeah.
I actually surprised you said that people thought it was too crazy because I feel like it's pretty similar to, it feels similar to the craziness of One Battle After Another to me.
It's similar, yeah. Both movies are very divisive.
Yeah. But for me, my runner-up was actually The Ugly Stepsister.
Oh, that's surprising.
Yeah. Yeah, this one was actually like a sleeper for me.
That's a sleeper
I
for
did
sure.
I almost put Sinners over it. But
really?
This was such a fresh experience on the Cinderella story that it really stuck with me.
I'm impressed.
I said on our review that I wouldn't rewatch this, but I could actually easily see myself
interesting
rewatching this movie. So
what made you change your mind?
To change it from a 9 to a 10 based on that.
Okay.
Well, we thought about doing this, our favorite and the runner-up, so I had to go back and look through.
So you were just thinking
movies
about it through a
and
fresh
I just
lens.
started thinking about it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm really surprised that was your runner-up. I'm happy, not surprised in a bad way. That was a great movie, but for a foreign body horror movie. Marvin, you're making. We can't make fun of you anymore for not watching a lot of movies. You're like in the club now.
That's right.
Congrats.
That's right. Yep.
A little reflection can actually, I mean, I'm surprised about maybe what Dan's final pick is going to be because I know what it may not be. So yeah, I mean, obviously Sinners is a contender. That's a movie that I've watched more than once. So that was for me. I had to not only love it, I had to go back and rewatch it at least one time, probably if not two more times minimum. So Sinners is definitely on there, but Superman is on there too. And Sketch is on there too. That was a great movie. Had fun watching it with the family, had fun watching it without the family. So
yeah,
it's tough, but I think Superman is going to have to be my runner-up because like Marvin said, after reflection, like I've watched this a couple of times and I think James Gunn nailed it. And it kind of irritates me and makes me love it even more that people complain about like he saved an animal. Like he's faster than the speed of light. He's got time to do that shit and he likes animals. What's the problem?
Yes.
He's Superman. That's what he does.
But yeah, I just like after.
Could you imagine what kind of a miserable human person you have to be like, he saved a squirrel. This is so lame. You should be jumping. Oh my God, he saved an animal.
Like I was like, oh, that's awesome, bro. That's the kind of stuff I want to see in a superhero movie. Like Superman can do that. Show that. It's like it took 2 seconds.
Yep.
But Superman, my runner-up. I loved it.
All right.
Movie.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that Superman's getting some love. So let's work backwards, Dusty. Why don't you start with your number one?
Okay. Well, this I think I said it when I watched it, and it hasn't changed. But it was Life of Chuck. Tom Hiddleston nailed that. The story, the way they told it, the scenes, the section. I tried to find something to beat it. There were some good Stephen King's. Like you say, The Long Walk. Very, very good.
Yeah.
But Life of Chuck. That was my favorite movie this year.
I had a hard time snubbing that one too. Like it was close.
Yeah.
I had a really hard. I really did have. I'm not just trying to say it for like, to create some sort of tension.
We watched a lot of good movies.
I really had a hard time deciding what my favorite movie was this year. And like, again, I'm still having a hard time. And that's one of the movies that has stuck with me all these months later. Like that ending was like very powerful where he's, just like, I contain multitudes and he just walks off and, the credits roll hanging on that room. And it was very, very good. I love that movie.
Yeah. Well, and the crafting the story around the moment of music or music itself, I think for me is what hits me because I was in band, so
I actually saw
drums and all that stuff. I'm a musician, so it resonates.
I saw a criticism of that. Somebody said like that movie sucked. It was just, I think it was in our comments actually. It was like that movie sucked. It was just there was like a 20-minute long dancing scene. I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's like such a human moment of like simplicity of just simple joy. You idiot.
Imagine the world without music.
Yeah.
And then go watch the movie again.
Exactly. Imagine the world without music, without art, without video games, without movies. Like life would be meaningless. All right. I'm glad you picked that. That's awesome. All right, Marvin, what's your number one? Let's hear it.
My number one actually hasn't changed since I've seen it. It was something different before this, but my number one is The Long Walk.
Excellent.
This movie just had everything. I mean, phenomenal acting. David Johnson, Cooper Hoffman.
Yep.
They just put on a masterclass in this. It has so much emotion. I mean, only movie to make me cry in the recent years.
Really?
Yeah. Great plot and amazing story too. And even, like the premise itself is just super interesting. So yeah, for me, it just hit all the marks.
Yeah, that was a really great movie. Again, to build that much like tension and emotion without really doing anything is, that's like a crazy achievement. So like props to Francis Lawrence. That is like such a credit to him as a director, and then also the actors to pull that off. Because it's very much, I think we even said this when we actually talked about it. It's very much kind of like a play, like a stage play, or it's just raw.
Right,
it's just the actors and their dialogue, and that's it. you know, obviously that movie has some stuff where there's, you know, people are getting shot and shitting and puking and like there's some stuff in there because it's a horror movie or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's really about that acting and those actors together. And yeah, so that's a great pick. Awesome movie. Loved it. And that's another one that stuck with me. I was like, holy fuck, this movie like really impacted me. But
yeah,
there was only one movie that impacted me in a way that hasn't happened in a really long time. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised. My favorite movie was Superman. I almost wasn't.
I wasn't sure if you were going to pull the trigger on that one, Dan.
I almost wasn't.
I wasn't sure.
I almost wasn't, and I was like, can I really say that Superman was my favorite movie of the year? Because like I kind of fell into the trap of like, oh, it's not cinema. But then I was like, what am I doing?
It is.
It is cinema. It's a great movie, and it's the movie that I've always wanted, and that movie like literally changed my brain chemistry in a way that's like never happened to me before. Like I entered that movie in feeling a way about like the world, and I left it feeling better, and it made me want to be a better person. If making me feel some shit isn't cinema, then I don't know what is. I say to Ed like once a week, I just text him randomly. I'm like, remember when Superman came out and it was amazing and how great it was? And he's like, yep. Because like how rare it is that you go into something excited and it is everything you wanted it to be and more. Like it just blows away your expectations. Very rare.
Pretty rare. Especially nowadays, like, amongst all the bullshit that we get.
Rare with movies, rare with shows, rare with games, rare with anything. And so
I try to curb my excitement, so it was pleasantly surprising for me.
No, Superman was gonna like make or break my like personality for the rest of my life. Like, if that movie was bad, like you guys, I would have been insufferable.
It was over,
yeah. And for a lot of different reasons, that movie meant a lot to me. Like, I'm a big Superman fan, and it is the perfect depiction of Superman that we've ever gotten. I just commented on a TikTok earlier. Somebody was ranking the different Superman films, and he put that one as number 2, and of course the original 78 Superman is number 1. And I was like, honestly, if you strip away the nostalgia, the 2025 Superman is better than the 78 Superman in every way. It's a better depiction of Superman. It's a better depiction of Clark. It's just a better movie. And obviously, I love the 78 Superman. It's fantastic. I love Christopher Reeve. That movie has a special place in my heart. But if you're a Superman fan, it doesn't get better than this James Gunn Superman, in my opinion. Like you said, guys saving squirrels. Like while the Justice Gang is fighting like this kaiju, and they're just like showboating and like trying to kill it, and he's like doing damage control and like saying like, hey guys, like, can we just like try to kill it humanely or take it somewhere? Like that's just who Superman is. The connection to his parents is also like meaningful to me because it's like something I connected with my dad on back in the day. Like a lot of kids probably. So that meant a lot to me. And his performance was unbelievable. Like he really played like 3 different roles. There's like his Superman persona where he's like, hello, Miss Lane. And that has never been done before, really. Like Christopher Reeve did it where he was like slouchy as Clark and then like stood up tall when he becomes Superman, but not in this way where like we see throughout the film that he's workshopping his persona as Superman. Superman doesn't have time for social media, Lois. Like, or he says to Gary, the robot, he's like, I got to get back to the fray. Like he's workshopping his identity as Superman. And that is awesome to me. And then there's his persona as Clark Kent, where he's at work and he's like kind of goofy, but not really. And he's just like the reporter, mild mannered or whatever.
Clumsy.
Yeah. But then there's his real persona where that slips out throughout the movie. Oh, golly. What the hey, dude? Like his just goofy farm boy thing. So David Corenswet really played 3 different characters in that movie, and it was brilliant. And so I loved everything about it. James Gunn is a master of comic book movie. He like he just knows how to do it right. And that's it. I've watched it genuinely 15 times since July when it came out. It is now January 4th. That's I may be an insane person, but like if ever I need to like a quick lift me up, I just watch Superman and it makes me feel good. And I still cry at all the same scenes. So that's just how you know it worked out. And it's great. And the other reason it really means a lot to me too, I forgot to mention, I don't even know if I mentioned it when we talked about it, but growing up, like listening to punk rock music, like punk rock has always been like a big part of my life. Like I got into music when I was like, I don't know, 13 or 14, and it was always punk rock. And like, you know, since 2016, politics has become sort of like pop culture, and like everybody has made politics like their personality. And I've been accused of like, well, you just only care about politics now because it's cool. And it's like, no, I've literally had the same worldview my entire life. And it largely is in part to the message of a lot of punk music, of like anti-establishment, but not just anti-establishment to be edgy. It's like anti-establishment because it's pro-human life, or human rights rather. And establishment is generally not human rights. And those two things are usually not, they don't go hand in hand. So like I've always been a progressive. I've always held these ideals. And the way that Superman framed that kindness is the real punk rock, it was like, it just really like reaffirmed it was just like, you've been right this whole time. So that makes me happy.
I'm just glad it wasn't one battle after another.
You really hated that movie, huh?
I didn't hate it. I have my problems with it. That's it.
If it wasn't Superman, it was going to be The Long Walk. So
that's a good one, though.
I'm glad one of us got it in there. Great year for movies. The Oscars are going to be really interesting. Obviously, the awards mean nothing.
Yeah. Especially
if Sinners isn't nominated for anything, and it's starting to look like that's going to be the case. But yeah. So there's our favorite movies of 2025, folks. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what your favorite movies were. Maybe what your top 5 was. There was a lot of them. It's tough. Try to do it. Try to pick your top 2. I had a hard time. Difficult. But we'll be interested to hear what your favorite movies of the year are and why.